Do you need to take a Cubiks test as part of your hiring process? Well, there are some things you should know in advance. In this video, I'll discuss the different Cubiks tests: Logiks Intermediate, Logiks Advanced, and the PAPI test. On top of that, I'll walk you through some sample questions and show you some useful tips you can use. I hope that this video, as it should, will help you improve your score and get you that job you're after. Let's go! Hi, I'm Arbel from Job Test Prep. Before we begin, if you want more info on the Cubiks assessment or try an accurate logic simulation test, you are welcome to check the link in the description below. And now back to the video. So, what is the Cubiks Logics test? Long story short, it's a cognitive test developed by a veteran testing company called Cubiks. Many employers use this assessment to screen potential employees by testing their reasoning skills, specifically numerical, verbal, and abstract reasoning. Sometimes the Logics test is accompanied by an additional personality test called PAPI, but we'll go to that later. There are two types of Logics test: intermediate and advanced. You are likely to face only one of them, so understanding the differences is very important. Actually, this can save you precious preparation time and prevent you from practicing the wrong material. The Logiks General Intermediate test is a fast-paced assessment. How fast? You'll get only 4 minutes to answer each section. That's 15 seconds per question on the numerical section. Let's check an example. Try to answer this question under the time limit. If two printers print 80 copies in 1 minute, but printer B prints 4 times more copies than printer A, how many copies does printer A print in 1 minute? Well, time's up. Did you solve the question on time? From the details that we got, we know that printer B works like 4 A printers. So, let's just imagine that printer B is actually 4 A printers. Now we can see that the overall 80 copies are made by 5 A printers. The only thing that's left is to take the number 80 and divide it by 5. So the answer is 16. Okay, so at first, it may take some time to observe the details and to solve the question. But it leads us to our first and maybe most important tip: practice. Yes, this might sound like a cliché, but just like any other test, practicing is the best way to achieve a high score and to increase your chances of passing. And the Logiks Intermediate test is no different. After taking some practice tests and refining your math skills, this test will become much easier, and answering these questions will become less overwhelming. On the Logiks Advanced test, it's a whole different game. On this test, you'll get more time to answer less questions. But there's a big catch: the questions are a lot harder. Let's look at the Numerical Advanced section. On these questions, you'll need to go through graphs and charts, focus on the right details, and conduct the right calculations. Here's an example of how these types of questions look. If you want to see the full answer for this question, I posted it in the comments below. Now let's check a question from the Abstract Reasoning section. These questions are pretty much the same on both the Logiks Advanced and the Logiks Intermediate tests. Try to look at the shapes from left to right and find the shape that completes the series from the options below. This should take 24 seconds. You can pause the video. On abstract questions like this one, you need to spot the rules that dictate the pattern of the shapes. The rule that applies in this case is rotation. There are 2 triangles in this question, one outer black and one inner white, each with its own pattern. While the outer black triangle is rotating 45 degrees clockwise on each step, the inner white triangle is rotating 90 degrees clockwise. If we continue rotating the triangles, we'll see that the next shape is the one in option E. Okay, so we're almost done. But before we end this video, Just a quick note on another test you might encounter: the PAPI personality test, or its shorter version, Cubiks factors. Intuitively, it seems that there are no wrong answers in personality tests, but this is pretty much false. This test needs to be understood prior to taking it. Let's take this question for example. Okay, so this may seem like an innocent question, but for recruiters, this says a lot about your character, especially after you answer multiple questions like this. A tip you should use when taking this kind of personality test is to imagine that it is supposed to predict your behavior at the workplace. Are you applying for a managerial position? If so, maybe you should feel comfortable being in the center of things. But what if you're a part of a team? It's also important to remember you need to be consistent in your answers and avoid being too neutral. The test itself is 54 questions long at the factors version and is much longer on the PAPI-N and PAPI-I tests. Well, this sums up our video. If you want to see more sample questions for all Cubiks sections, take a free Logiks test, or get the full Cubiks prep that includes accurate simulations and guides, visit the link in the description below. Have a question? Feel free to post it in the comments below. And of course, good luck on your Cubiks assessment!